This tutorial is the last of our tutorials in the German Augmented 6. And I'm going to go back and make a connection to the Neapolitan chords that we studied in the previous chapter. So here's some basic progressions using the Neapolitan 6, just to remind you. So here's the first standard version of the Neapolitan 6, or flat 2, in its first inversion. So here in the Neapolitan 6 functions as a substitute for 2/6, Ra Ti Do going instead of Re Ti Do. Now what I want to alter here is the Neapolitan, as I've said before, is a stable chord. It's not dissonant at all. In fact, it's too stable, and it can easily be tonicized. It's so stable. So let me show you how that works. So let's take the 5-to-1, the progression we have here, and just delay it for arrest in here. Now let's see. So we have this motion here, just a plain 1/6 going to the Neapolitan 6. Let's just listen to that. Now here's how you can just tonicize that. I mean, just looking at it, just focused in isolation, it's just a B flat chord in first inversion. So that can easily be tonicized with a dominant, a 5/4-2, just to hold. So that would, you're just thinking in the key of B flat. Just have the F7 chord. It goes right back. Here. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So let's look at, let's go again. So let's keep using this 5/4-2 chord. Let's go back to, actually, let's delay this. One more. Delay the progression, just one more. And go back to the 5/4-2. But now, respell or rethink. This is, well, let's just look at the bass again. So it's Do, Me, Fa. We would call E flat, say, to Fa, say, to Fa. Now reinterpret that enharmonically as Fi. And so you have what was a major second is now a diminished third, Fi and Lay. Those are solfege syllables that we recognize from the Augmented 6, except this time they're not Augmented 6. They're a diminished, I forgot how to get to the diminished sign. There. Diminished third. It's a German diminished third. It's spelled exactly like the German Augmented 6, except it's voiced with Fi in the bass. So let's do all the labels here. So this is a 5/4-2 of Neapolitan or flat 2. Going back to in 6. So what is The applied chord to flat 2 is a flat 6. It has this 5-1 relationship. So flat 6, we know, is also can lead to the dominant, lay to sol. So if you recognize that the German augmented 6 also has the intervals, the sounding intervals of the dominant 7th, then you have this kind of confusion, or some people refer to it as a musical pun, where in one context it means one thing, but then in another context it means something else, and you hear them right side by side here. Let's listen again. So first, with the Neapolitan tonicizing that, functioning as a dominant. Now usually that's done a little bit longer, and oftentimes you'll hear this back and forth tonicizing Neapolitan, and then breaking back and then treating it like an augmented 6 or a diminished third leading to the dominant. So the bass goes do, me, fa, se, fa, fi, sol, sol, do. You can imagine it going several times. So now it's the first time I've really introduced in the tutorial the peculiar German diminished third voicing. The more common voicing, as we know, is the augmented 6. So now if you have the augmented 6, that's would have lay in the bass. And if you will treat these chords in root position, then you can get, you'll see it in its more familiar version. So that's what this progression here is on the bottom. So here I'm going, I'm approaching the Neapolitan in root position from flat 6. So again, slightly less common, but still a common enough progression. So let's again delay it. So I'm going to set up a structural dominant here on the downbeat. I'll erase it here. So let's make some room for. So here we have 1 to 6 to flat 2. So let's go right back to that chord. Actually, let's just put it in there. But make it a true applied chord. Make it a dominant 7th of flat 2. What you need for that is the 7th. So let's put that here. And the alto, because you want a complete chord. Actually, I'm going to make this, make it hold separate bar. Eliminate this bar. Because I want to spend a little bit, really feel like flat 2 is tonicized. So let's follow the right voice leading here. 7th resolves down. The leading tone of the key of B flat goes back up. Bass motion moves. Let's triple the root here. Go straight back to. Actually, if we did make the soprano go up like this, then we can avoid the tripling of the root. And then we can come back to the chord once again, like this. Let's listen to this. For all intents and purposes, we sound like we're in the key of B flat right now. Now, at this point, we can now go. Now, instead of treating this as the seventh of 5 of flat 2, now we can call it the German augmented 6. And you just think of the E flat just like we did up here. Think of it now as D sharp. Everything else is pretty much normal. Let's give it a really, as I've said, these whenever you have something like this, especially when you've got this, this kind of tritone substitution or this a confusion between the 5 of Neapolitan and the German 6, augmented 6, that really signals a major structural dominant. And so it's very often that it will take quite a bit of time to play out. So let's make this go to a cadential 6/4. So Fi goes to Sol. And then the May holds steady. And then the Do holds steady. That's your cadential 6/4. 4. Going to the 5/4/3. And let's make the 8 pass down to 7 and quarter notes. So it really sounds like a structural dominant. There. So let's listen to this whole thing. So you see how that it really does need those long half notes in order to feel right, to get your ear used to the shock of treating it as an augmented 6 as opposed to a 5 of flat 2. When I play this first one up here, it goes by too quickly. It would be nice to actually, let's just go ahead and make that happen. I'm going to put in an extra bar, make the 1 fall on the downbeat, and make the 5. You'll learn more about this when we study form next year, how important it is to get the proportions right. That's why composers put codas and pedals, dominant pedals, and tonic pedals, because sometimes it takes them, you can't just plow through it in quarter notes. So let's listen to both these progressions again. These are, emphasizing these are structural dominants and tonics. Now the next one. Okay, very important. It's kind of the last thing we'll really study in chromatic harmony. This is what they in jazz call the tritone substitution, or the common sound between the 5 of 7 of flat 2 and the German augmented 6. Okay.